can't share this to Landry. Just tell him like, yeah, I wasn't able to get any footage.
Right.
Yeah. Is that cool? Cool.
So we're talking about HR strategy, and is it conducive to organizational excellence in terms of things like recruitment, hiring, development, remuneration packages, empowering?
As of lately, no. And there's two reasons behind this. First, there's no money, which means we can't necessarily get a superstar team in Meetup. So if there's no money, then we can't necessarily attract the best people to our company. Second, there's no clear and cut way for training. And there's literally it's just on-the-job learning. It's not necessarily training.
So there's no coaching, no mentoring from middle management, supervisors?
I mean, there is, but there's no formal way of doing it. There's no real process that's actually in a book. And so a lot of the company culture is actually just explained word of mouth. Hey, this is how we do things here. Hey, you can't do that because this. Hey, you need to talk to this person before you talk to this person. So there's no clear-cut way of training the employees here.
What about recruitment? Because you're obviously saying before that the problem is the root of the problem is the fact that we do things differently than people here. We have a different paradigm, we have a different mentality, we do things differently. So from the standpoint of recruiting the people that would have, or at least be on the same brainwave as yourself or as the upper management of the company, is there something that HR has done in the past or is currently doing or could do to attract people that would fit better together as a team?
There are lots of things that media can do. We can pay people non-local prices or non-local wages to attract better candidates. But we're just not doing that. We can't afford it. There's no money.
Right.
What it really comes down to is that some people just don't aspire to work for a tile company, and that's fine. And some people just look at media as a job, and that's fine too. But for there to be a really big revolution, there needs to be some input of new talent within the company.
Yeah.
People that know what they're doing. And for example, I have RMIT interns, and it's a bummer because they're not necessarily the brightest people either. And I literally have to tell them 3 or 4 times to do something.
Yep. Dude, I am so on the same page as you, and my teammates that will watch this will laugh and they'll know exactly what I mean.
I'm gonna tell the NBA team right now. Okay, RMIT interns sometimes are useless, and I have to ride them really hard, and that's how I get things done, by riding them. So remember that. Okay.
Yeah, just because you have an MBA really doesn't mean very much. Just don't tell my professor because he'll be watching this. Hopefully not. Let's talk a little bit about marketing objectives, the positioning of the company, and talk a little bit about the target market. But are you looking to potentially expand your target market in the future?
So currently, we have a directive by the CEO, and that's a shift market. So currently, we're at 30% export and 70% domestic. We're trying to shift it to a 50-50, which means we're going to be decreasing the amount of time and resources for domestic market, and we're going to try to be getting more export business.
And in terms of your export, where are the areas generally localized? Do you export to Europe, to South America, to Australia?
Currently, right now, we're exporting to Australia and New Zealand. Those 2 countries are the bread and butter of our export business. Right now, the directive is that I have the responsibility of developing the US market, South American market, South Africa, England, and after that phase, hopefully if we can do something, we're going to try to target Thailand Cambodia, Singapore, and the Philippines.
How do you plan to reach your end consumers? Landry was talking about going through architectural firms and interior design firms predominantly. Is that something that you will continue to do?
Is this for domestic or for international?
Both.
For domestic, that's our current business model. And it actually makes sense. We're actually trying to get towards the people who are tastemakers or the people that are in charge of projects.
Sure.
And hopefully with that, we're going to have the trickle-down effect where it actually hits the consumer. Or people see that, oh, Media has been using this project. I'm a consumer. I want my house to look exactly like that one project up in Woodland. But for international, right now is I'm literally cold calling distributors all over the world, and I'm cold calling manufacturers because currently right now manufacturers are sourcing from Southeast Asia as well, and that's to supplement their own product to give and diversify their product within their own respective market.
Okay. You talked a little bit about positioning earlier on. You position yourselves more as a luxury brand?
So within the domestic market, we are considered a high-end brand. Luxury is not the right word because within flooring, luxury flooring would be wood floors,
Okay.
marble, or slate, or travertine.
Okay, so high end. Fair enough.
But within the international market, we're actually positioned in the middle. We're actually very run-of-the-mill.
Sort of like IKEA-esque.
No. IKEA,
Or more like Pottery Barn.
no. Wow. I would love to be Pottery Barn. No, we're run-of-the-mill in terms of, we're not necessarily the highest, we're not necessarily the lowest.
Okay.
And it's really hard to find an analog that would really describe it all. Or I can't think of one right now.
Are the marketing strategies that you employ outsourced to advertising and PR firms, or are they all in-house?
They're all in-house, and that was a directive by the CEO a long, long time ago. That we're not going to do traditional marketing and non-traditional advertising. So, which means we don't do TV commercials.
Which wouldn't be very exciting anyways.
I think we every once in a while do magazine spreads, right? But most of the marketing efforts goes into our design shows. And what happens within these design shows is that we invite architects, artists, blah blah blah, to come out and take a look at our product, and for them to take a look at our installations.
We talked a little bit about the competitive environment, both domestically and internationally. Who would you be butting heads against in terms of other ceramic experts, per se?
The biggest competitor for international would be China in general. They have lower prices, and it's because they have less restrictions and they have slave labor, and they just make things much faster with larger quantities. So they're able to actually reduce their price
Sure.
a lot better. And sometimes they actually produce better quality product.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And it's funny because I actually talk to a lot of distributors internationally, and they're like, yeah, some of the Chinese products, they actually rival the Spanish and Italian products.
Really?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And that's why it's interesting. They're like, it just depends on which manufacturer you're dealing with in China. So there's a huge spectrum of products to choose from in China.
So it's a very fierce competitive environment. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of companies producing something.
Thousands in China alone.
In China alone.
So domestically, who are we competing with? We're competing against China as well. We're competing against other local brands. But the one thing that Media actually does have is our designs are better, or they look more modern, and we have better customer service.